Hello, it's me, Younghi. I'm proud to share the news that yesterday I went to the Korean consulate in Washington, D.C. to take an oath for the restoration of my Korean citizenship. As a Korean adoptee, I'm eligible for dual citizenship, so I'm now an official citizen of both Korea and the United States. I would like to discuss why this event holds so much meaning for me. According to my adoption file, I was found on the street in 영등포구 on October 26, 1973, by the police when I was approximately 2.5 years old. Very quickly, I was relocated to a temporary shelter for missing children and then flagged for international adoption. By November 7, 1973, less than 2 weeks later, my Korean adoption agency moved me into the home of a foster family. I've always had a strong feeling that I got lost or wandered off, and that is how I became separated from my biological mother. Should that have been the case, this means there is no way my mother could have found me. Unfortunately, I have no memories of my life in Korea before I was adopted. I do not even remember the plane ride that brought me to the United States or meeting my adoptive family for the first time. For me to be legally eligible for overseas adoption, the Korean government created a paper trail showing that I was an orphan, at least on paper, even though I had a family somewhere in Korea. After less than a year with my foster family, I was sent to the United States on August 29, 1974, to meet my new American parents. This is significant because while getting processed as an orphan, my Korean citizenship was taken without my knowledge or consent, but what 3-year-old could understand this situation well enough to consent to it in the first place? So, through no choice of my own, I was no longer a Korean citizen, and I was rehomed into a new family in a new country. Some of you might be wondering why I would want to become a citizen of the same country that did everything possible to dissolve my Korean identity, so let me explain. For many Korean adoptees, finding and solidifying one's identity is an enormous emotional undertaking. Most of us were adopted into white families and had very little to no other Koreans or Asians around us while growing up. I did not meet another Korean adopted person until I was in my late 30s. I did not try Korean food for the first time since my childhood in Korea until my upper 20s, when I also met my first Korean American acquaintance. Imagine living and growing up where no one looks like you. It is very isolating and confusing, to say the least. Like many Korean adoptees, I was teased and bullied by my peers, which was hurtful and caused me to be ashamed of how I looked. At that time, it was the mid-70s, and the few Asians that were in my area were either Chinese or Japanese. Most people seemed unaware of Korea or where it was even located. Adoptive parents in the United States were encouraged to assimilate their adopted child quickly and quietly. Some people say, "I don't see color," but what that translates to is they do not see me. I am a person of color. I am not white. My features make that apparent. No pretending or ignorance is going to change this. As an adult, I found out that I could reclaim my Korean citizenship, as Korean adoptees have a unique opportunity to obtain dual citizenship. It took over 1.5 years for my Korean citizenship to get reinstated. Yesterday, after I took my oath of citizenship, I had the opportunity to talk a bit about what this means to me. Basically, I've lived in a state of limbo since I was 3 years old. My Koreanness was not acknowledged or reflected to me in positive ways. What made me different was not celebrated or cherished, and no other Koreans were accessible, so I had no one from which to relearn the culture and language. I was American on paper, but my face told others that I was a foreigner, and many times I was told to go back to my country, only I didn't have that country or culture anymore. Getting my Korean citizenship reinstated means I'm officially recognized as a Korean person. I exist. I am seen. I no longer must visit my own motherland as a tourist. I have reclaimed a large part of the identity I received as a birthright, despite having my family, my roots, my origin, my culture systematically erased. I've worked hard to restore a large piece of my identity, and now I feel more whole as a person. Many Korean adoptees spend a good portion of their lives feeling disconnected and lost, as I have. I'm still searching for my mother. I've been blessed to find my father. I'm still working on finding myself and becoming as close to whole as I can, and most of all, I deserve this. Thank you for listening.